You need look no further than the headline this morning on MSNBC.com, where they responded to Laken Riley, the 22-year-old nursing student in Georgia who was murdered by a Venezuelan illegal. They responded to his being convicted and sentenced to life in prison without parole with this headline: Laken Riley's killer never stood a chance. What? It was up for a long time. He never stood a chance. It was up for a long time. Finally, just as we come to air, they changed it to the guilt of Laken Riley's killer was never in doubt. Apparently, their headline was too much even for their left-wing audience, Victor.
You know, the common denominator with all these stories is that this bi-coastal leader, whoever they think they are, they're completely immune from the consequences of their own ideology and policy. So they never see the Laken Rileys of the world, their parents. They don't know what they all count on the idea that they're going to experiment on us like we're lab rats with all this transgender stuff, all this open border stuff, all this critical legal theory, all this critical racial theory. And then they're going to retreat into these zip codes and enclaves and areas where they're never going. Martha's Vineyard. The Obamas are going to venture out from Martha's Vineyard or the Hollywood Mansion or the Colorama Mansion, then lecture all of us, and then they're going to retreat right back there with all the things they've done. Is never going. The fallout from it's never going to hit them until they really have to experience things that they promoted, and they're never going to change. And I think that was what another thing about the election was, that one iconic moment when Barack Obama was lecturing African-American young men who have to deal with high prices and crime and illegal immigration. He was telling them they were illiberal and they had to shape up, and they didn't know what was good for them. It was almost like a Marxist saying, you're all suffering from false consciousness. And I, the professor, am going to tell you what you really should be thinking and who you really, really, really should be voting for. And that was just thematic, emblematic of that whole campaign. So that's really the issue right now. I think the people who lecture and the people get lectured to, and they're tired of it.
Mm-hmm. I have to say we knew this guy was going to get convicted. His DNA was under her fingernails. It was very clear. He was on videotape. The evidence against him was dead to rights. His name is Jose Ibarra, 26-year-old illegal from Venezuela, found guilty by a judge. And her poor mother. I mean, this is one of the women I mentioned by name when I spoke for Trump the night before the election, that I'd be thinking of Laken Riley on Tuesday, November 5th, and I was. And I have been for a while, as I know so many millions have, because this girl's story was just emblematic of so many who have been killed by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's reckless border policies. Right now, they're trying to make it easier for immigrants to cross the border, right this second in his last 2 months in office, because he hasn't done enough damage. And you think about folks like her mom, who testified yesterday on Tuesday that she missed Laken's final text and phone call. Laken had texted her, "Good morning, about to go for a run. Are you free to talk?" At 8:55 a.m. on Feb 22, before then trying her mom by phone less than 10 minutes later at 9:03. Within 7 minutes, she would be attacked by this illegal. And her dad, her stepfather, John Phillips, read one of Laken's final diary entries to her future husband in court. I'm going to play it. It's hard to listen to, but this is the real life toll of these leftist border policies. Listen.
To my future husband, I want you to know that I'm thinking about you. I'm working every day to become the best wife I can be. By working through my current relationships to best prepare me for ours and our kids one day. And can't wait to love you in the best way I know how for the rest of our lives. No matter what challenges we face, I pray that our trust in God and love for one another overrules the obstacle. May our relationship last forever. Your future wife, Laken.
Just one final thing, Victor. He did not get the death penalty because he had one of these woke prosecutors who, despite the fact that Georgia allows the death penalty, did not personally believe in it. And so this guy will live on the taxpayer's dime until he dies a natural death in prison.
Yeah, I think everybody who watches that ask a Nancy Pelosi or Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, what did you think was going to happen? Or Alejandro Mayorkas, what did you think was going to happen when you let 12 million people in with no criminal background checks, no health background, from places like Colombia or Venezuela, where gangs are rampant, or the Mexican cartels? And what did you think was going to happen? What would they do? They were wolves coming in to shear sheep. Was the idea that you wanted that? It was just nihilistic. Why were you doing that? And why did you think that you would unleash that flood upon innocent people like Laken Riley? And was it predicated in the idea that you were so protected, your neighborhood or the people you associate or your money or influence, that you would not only not experience these things, but you didn't care about the people who did? And, just living out here, Megyn, I have right now about 1,000-pound freezer, washer, dryer in my orchard that was just dumped by people. And I can tell you all of the garbage is all in Spanish, dumped. Wet diapers, dumped. I've had semi-trucks dumped. And we've had a person found a corpse in our orchard, dumped.
Oh my God.
And nobody, I mean, that person probably committed suicide, but they don't know. But it's I don't think people realize it. I know where I work at Stanford, where it's got that same mentality of the Biden administration. They condemn as illiberal or reactionary or mean-spirited or xenophobic or racist anybody who wants to have legal, measured, orderly immigration, because they never experience the downside. And when you say things to them, well, if you want 12 million people to come in, you're worried about housing and healthcare. Stanford University has about 10,000 billets in the summer of empty dorms. They have one of the best medical schools in the world. They have a law school for legal counsel. They have all these student interns that could help. Why don't you volunteer to take 7,000 or 8,000 illegal aliens and let them stay in the campus for the summer? And they go ballistic when you say that. How dare you say that? Same reaction you get from the Martha Vineyard people. We will love these people. When is the bus coming to get them out of here? Here's some care packages.
They enriched our lives in the 72 hours they were here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's what it's all about.
Here's two other things on it. John Hassan on X noticed this. Washington Post, AP, New York Times all refused to describe Laken Riley's murderer as an illegal immigrant. And he's exactly right. Washington Post, Venezuelan national Jose Ibarra found guilty of murdering. AP doesn't say anything. A man was convicted of murder in the killing of Laken Riley. New York Times, a Venezuelan migrant. Nothing about the fact that he's here illegally and is part of this Venezuelan gang. We're not allowed to talk about it. And final point on it, Allie Beth Stuckey posted this on X. No black squares for Laken, no riots, no demands to listen and learn, no lectures on progressive fragility, no scolding from social justice Christians. They're angrier when a violent criminal is confronted by the police than they are when an innocent woman is murdered while jogging. They're more outraged when an illegal Haitian immigrant gets his shirt pulled by a Border Patrol agent at the border. Remember that the next time they launch another manipulation campaign. Boy, that sums it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. And they're not going to stop until they're forced to stop. And that 100-day metamorphosis of Kamala Harris, we all know that if she had won, she was going to go right back to her open borders policy. And when she's lost, she will go as a lame duck vice president right back to the policy, which we see already being enacted by Joe Biden. They've already tried to create more apps to let people in a final influx. There's a caravan forming. That was all just 100 days of cynical falsity that they explained that they wanted to secure the border, and I'm against illegal immigration. That was one of the most insincere, fraudulent campaigns we've ever seen, on that 100-day facade that they were going to worry about the victims of illegal immigration, or they were going to stop illegal immigration, or restore the border, or they were going to worry about crime, or fracking, or a strong military. None of that. That was even worse because they knew that's what the people wanted. And they did not want to give what the people wanted because they thought the people were stupid and their friends and their associates were smart. And therefore, they were going to fool the people one last time before they reverted back after they got. And the people said, I've had it with you. I've seen that you're a one-eyed jack. I've seen the other side of you. I don't want you anymore.
For those of us holding our breath for the past several months, we can finally exhale. Doesn't it feel like that? Work can finally be done on the major issues this country is facing, and it will be. One of the most significant, our national debt. The fact is our nation is broke, and that debt is a house of cards that can't be quickly dismantled. So the strategy remains the same. You might want to diversify your savings. This is why I want to tell you about Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control and out of our president's control, so it can be really important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group can help you convert an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. And the best news is it doesn't cost you 1 cent out of pocket. Text MK to 989898 now to get your free info kit. Plus, right now through Black Friday, you're going to receive a free 1-ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text MK to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.